Hello everybody, welcome back to Entity's Campfire. We are here with another week 1 main stage game of Raven X versus Elysium. And we do apologize for the slight delay with this start time, though we did have some issues in the lobby with getting all the players loaded in. But we are finally here now, and we have Raven X on the killer first with Elysium surviving. And right now we are seeing the first chase come in onto Zynox here on the Harvester, and Zynox does take that pretty early injury with the pounce and will be in a kind of tough spot here. We are using Lithe on this pallet gym and just trying to waste a little bit more time before we die here, but Zynox not in the safest spot. I imagine they just want to waste some time here before they die. Maybe try and die away from the generators, but that second pounce was very well timed. Does come in and down Zynox, but we are seeing him die all the way in the corner here on the right-hand side of the map, while Zeno and Pedro are doubling this gen on the top left, and then Ivan on his own about 30%. So not the longest chase here. Zynox didn't have all the resources in the world on the side of the map, but at the very least, he did use his exhaustion, did get that Lithe off, and died far away from the active generators, which at the end of the day does make a big difference here, because our killer cannot hook inside of the active generators and camp Zynox or anything like that. They do have to choose between securing the stage or defending their generators, and Elysium doing a very good job at making sure they are sticking to this plan. And we do have I believe like a decent amount of generators here on the left-hand side. It's almost a loose 4-gen kind of setup, maybe 5-gen if you connect main. Our only 2 generators on the right-hand side of the map are the one by the Harvester where Zynox went down, and the Killer Shack. So very strong generator setup on the left side here, and I'm really understanding why Elysium is trying to keep the chase on the right-hand side. And right now we are going to see a potential tunnel up coming in. Zynox still injured at the Shack, and we are going to see Shack pallet get thrown, but Zynox still has a little Lithe up his sleeve, and the Lapis Lazuli on the window did expire, so now he can vault if he so chooses. But we are going to see Zynox trying to play this filler pallet instead, but loses a 50. I know what Zynox was trying to do here. We were trying to drop that and then just instantly Lithe, but not quite able to get it. Is Ivan going to get this flashlight save? He is! Ivan with the flashlight save. Zynox lives to see another day. He will be running down the map here. Not the safest tile here. We only have an LT wall, but still able to waste a little bit more time. We do have this filler pallet. Zynox is able to get that drop off in time, and it looks like he will be dying on the left-hand side of the map, but folks, 2 generators on this side of the map have popped now. It doesn't really matter too much where Zynox dies. He just needs to waste a little bit of time and maybe try and die in a corner a little bit, but that's really it. Elysium doing a very good job here with their macro play, making sure these deaths are coming in at the right spots, and Zynox is definitely getting communication from his team on where he can run here, and Zeno about 80%, 90% on this main building generator. Pain Resonance was already used on Zynox, so unless our killer goes straight to main, I think Zeno will pop this gen. And yeah, with the Deja Vu, definitely gets that gen pop. Now we are at 2 generators remaining. Zynox here, about 60 seconds away from being eliminated on this hook. And I wonder if we will be seeing, I was about to say, I wonder if there will be a For the People play, but it appears Zynox is our For the People survivor, so Elysium is unable to do our For the People off this unhook and try and keep Zynox alive, but they do get him off the hook while the killer is away, so they get the pool for free. And I think the rest of this match kind of just depends on how much time Zynox can waste here. Even if he just uses his Lithe and has a little chase and then dies, like we just saw right now, Elysium is not in the worst spot. We do have some generator progress here. Zeno about 70% on this generator almost, with Ivan doubling that, and then Pedro is about 80-90% on his own generator. So still a lot of generator progress to work with here. Elysium is definitely not out of it yet, but had Zynox wasted like 10-15 more seconds in that chase, there'd be next to nothing the killer can do. But right now, I do think there is still some room for our killer to get some more stages before this game is all said and done. And Pedro definitely communicating to his team here that his generator is very high progress on the top left side of the map, and he will be trying to take this chase away while somebody presumably takes it over. But our killer not very interested. They will be going back to this generator. Maybe they're a bit worried that somebody took it over for Pedro, but so far nobody is here. It does look like Ivan and Zeno are instead opting to double a generator on the other side of the map, so the killer either has to worry about a double that's far away or Pedro soloing this generator that's about 80%. So really a win-win situation for Elysium here. It doesn't really matter what the killer does. The survivors have a very good chance at popping this last gen. And Pedro, as I speak, does go down here. And this will be presumably a pain resonance that could interrupt this double. It's only about 70, 75% right now. So I believe a killer here will make this hook and delay this last generator for a little bit. But we'll have to see. I mean, the bat form with the teleport has very strong mobility, but I don't know if it's strong enough to interrupt this generator. I think it might just be. I don't know if they pop this because the Dark Lord can use Hellfire, but he went to Wolf form. If you went to Vampire form, he could have charged Hellfire and done something here. But Xeno thought he was going to try and take a hit here, but he's actually just sending it for that unhook. Ivan, not the best filler palette to use here, trying to waste a little bit of time. Sprint Burst has already been used and no exhaustion perk to help him. All Ivan can really do here is just try and waste time on this or die in a corner or something. But in any case, oh, very good juke attempt by Ivan. But in any case, Xeno will be able to get this unhook and Ivan will be slugged on the ground here. So far, we do have 4 hook stages on the board with the slug on the ground. Our killer can definitely get something else out of this trial before the game is done. And something I did forget to mention earlier, Elysium did get a penalty for not submitting builds on time, so that is why all the survivors have 3 perks like we saw before, and that will be a minus 2-point penalty on the first 2 sets. So for this set and for the Blight set, that will be a minus 2 penalty. So that is something else that the killer can work with here. If they're not able to get a whole lot of stages, that penalty will still reward a little bit of extra points and make what would be a tie con pretty much a win. So Pedro going down in the basement here, very smart play, because now you have to just leave this slug far away from the other 2 survivors and try and get more stages, because Pedro has only been hooked once. Ideally right now our killer for Raven X wants either Ivan or Xeno. They are our fresh hook survivors, and we do find Xeno here does get caught out on this vault a little bit and will be going down. Now I wonder if our killer is going to try and chain the slugs here and get a 4K0. I think we might be seeing that. We are seeing the bat form coming back to Shack, and Pedro trying to force locker in basement, it looks like, while oh, okay, actually, I was gonna say I switched spectating at the wrong time. Pedro left the basement thinking he was committing to Ivan, but actually turned around and downed Pedro. So this might be a 4K0 after all. If Pedro committed to that plan and ran down to the basement and jumped in a locker, at least it would still be able to get some outs out of this. But I think Pedro maybe got baited a little bit or had some bad timing with going back up those stairs, because our killer just turned around and downed him, and now everybody's on the floor. We don't have any unbreakable or anything like that. So critical mistake by Pedro. I don't know if it was a miscom. Maybe heard that the killer was committing to the other survivor. Maybe Ivan said he was committing, or I don't know if Pedro just looked at it and assumed he would just stay on Ivan. But that is a very punishing mistake, because not being in that locker allowed the killer to get this slug play here. And we are looking at potentially a 4K0, assuming we could find the slug on the ground and get the full points for that fresh hook. And there we go. We have Xeno not even really trying to hide. They said, you know, we got 4K0'd. It happens. We will go next. But very well played by our killer player here for Raven X. Although the very end here, I do think was a little bit of misplay, or maybe miscoordination from the survivors there with the locker force. The killer did a good job at punishing that. We do see the strength of the Dark Lord with getting these downs and slugs and using bat form to get around the map very quickly. So very well played. 4K0 will be the end result. And remember that minus 2-point penalty could come into play if our killer for Elysium gets a 4K0. It would be a win for Raven X in theory. So we do have to definitely try to look at a 4K1 if you're playing on Elysium here, and we will be right back for the second trial of this Dark Lord set with Elysium on Killer and Raven X on Survivor. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to Enity's Campfire. We're here with the second trial of Raven X versus Elysium. Last trial we did see the killer for Raven X get a 4K at 0 generators left. All gens popped 4K, and there is also a penalty in play here for failing to submit builds on time. So if Xeno gets a 4K 0 here, it would actually not be a tie. Raven X would take the set win. So essentially what this means is Xeno has to get a 4K before all the generators are done in order to win. That is the only way, and Xeno definitely needs to have a fast, aggressive start to be on pace to 4K1 in this map. And it's definitely doable. The Dark Lord is a strong killer, but this map, even though that doesn't always have the safest structures, the survivors can usually do something using the size of the map and dying away from the generators, as we saw Elysium do in the first trial. But that being said, Xeno gets his first down quite early here. We do see that down come in when I think there's only one generator being worked. It's actually a double that's about 60-ish% here, and Xeno is able to get a pain resonance in time to interrupt that. So Dwight here did I do think it was good that he died in a corner that was very far away, but didn't really waste a whole lot of time in that chase, and that pain resonance interrupted the double. And at the beginning of the game, if the survivors are doubling a gen whilst somebody is being chased, it is very important that the chase is long enough for the double to pop, because if it gets interrupted by pain resonance or anything like that, it can just be a big waste of time for the survivors, and you would be better off splitting your pressure elsewhere. But as I speak, we are seeing it for the people here. David unhooks Dwight as soon as the unhook is free and uses for the people to protect that tunnel out. And instead of going for that tunnel out, we actually are seeing Xeno just go and chase that for the people survivor. And this isn't really that bad for Xeno either, because it is another extra hook stage that he has to chew through to get tunnel out. That is going to be another pain resonance, and if you are to convert this tunnel out to David, then that would guarantee nobody can for the people him off of that hook. So I think Xeno might be okay just doing that, and we are seeing Hex Ruin over here on the side of the map where Xeno has his generators and also has this hook. So we might see Xeno just lurk around here for a little while, maybe camp this to second stage. Because, I mean, in theory, as long as he forces a trade or makes this go second, with Ruin being up, he can definitely do something with this gen setup. And we are seeing a generator next to Shack on the right-hand side of the map pop, but a lot of generators here. It's almost like a 4-gen if we include main in this. So I think Xeno is recognizing that and taking this opportunity to say, hey, I don't need to get a 4K2 or anything. I just need to kill all the survivors before they pop all the generators. And he knows just by checking the gens that the active generators are on the opposite side of the map. So Xeno, I do think, making the correct play here, realizing this opportunity to camp and making sure David goes second here or somebody trades. And it looks like they're actually going to let him go second. The only survivor here that's close enough to trade is Dwight, and that's not any better because he will also just be put on the second hook. But Ruin is cleansed, so Xeno does not have any more passive regression in the form of Hex Ruin now. And we are seeing Xeno still hard search around this area. He is convinced that somebody is lurking around nearby to try and get this unhook, but not seeing anybody just yet. Now he does know they're working main, so about 60% done. And we are putting Eruption down on main building, and now David will have to carry the team on his back here. If Raven X wants to win this match, David needs to have a long chase. If he dies right now, that'll be Eruption on that generator, and that will be a death at 3 gens remaining potentially, and he definitely needs to last for his team here. Does get second wind off though. I almost forgot he was broken because of second wind, so now he is healthy, and Xeno has to go through 2 health states for this tunnel out, that for the people's second wind, really showing its strength here. And David does have a lot of pallets here. There has not been a single chase on this side of the map so far, and David does get caught out on that send a little bit, and we'll have the harvester here. We have already used Lithe. We don't have any exhaustion perks to help us, but Xeno doing a very good job at not getting baited there by that fake, and does get the down on David. So this will be a death at 2 generators remaining, but we do have a double happening here. It's about 70%, and then looks like Jake will be rotating to the other side of the map. And I don't even think there's a generator on the right-hand side of the map anymore. I do think it's just the left-hand side, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually look at Xeno's point of view here. Do we have any generators on the right-hand side? Because if we do, then it could be hard for Xeno. We do. Okay, so now Xeno cannot let another generator pop, and we do have a very good gen split here. I did not realize that generator near the harvester is still up, but right now these survivors can pretty much just either split that generator to the right of main by the harvester, and this one by couchery, or that one all the way at the bottom of the map. Doesn't really matter, and that is a pretty good gen split. Right now Xeno does have pain resonance to work with. We are going to see this be a minus 20% on Jake's generator over here, but Xeno has to be careful. If he commits to somebody and the survivors are in a position to double a generator and Xeno overextends just a little bit, that could be the last generator falling. So Xeno does still have to be careful. He is in the game still. I do think right now he recognizes that somebody has to be sticking around for his unhook. He is looking around a little bit, but doesn't find Dwight, and that is a critical point in this match. If Xeno finds Dwight sitting there setting up for that unhook and injures him, he could do something where he leaves and goes to this generator and he has a big snowball. But Dwight not being found forces Xeno to leave and check the generator, because Xeno is on a limited time here. He does not have the freedom to look around forever, because if he does, Jake will just get more and more progress on that generator. But very good hellfire. Xeno knowing he can hit through the pallet just a bit and get the hit through it, and that was a very interesting interaction here. I don't know if Jake maybe looked away at the wrong time, or maybe because Wolf Form Dracula is a little bit shorter, didn't notice what Xeno was doing there, but does get mind gamed at the shack a little bit, and that is going to be an eruption proc on that generator. Xeno using that bat form to go all the way back to this generator and try and make something happen here. Ideally, you don't really want to pick Jake up. It doesn't progress the game all that much. I mean, Xeno would get a pain resonance if he hooks Jake on a Scourge hook, but ideally right now you want to find an injured Dustin and put him on that hook and make this game a pending 2v1, because if you can get one of those survivors on their second stage and make sure that they die, or the survivors have to give up gen progress to save them, Xeno can definitely still get a 4k1 here. But if he doesn't make something happen soon, this generator is very high. Xeno still has to be very careful, and that is going to be eruption on this generator again, while Dwight is working that one on the opposite side of the map. We're about close to 50%. And Dustin right now is hiding. He knows he can't get found. If an injured Dustin gets found right now and placed on that hook, that is very big problems for Raven X. And Xeno hard searching for a survivor who is working this generator, not knowing they actually went further into the map behind main building here to hide. And again, Dwight not getting found by that hook earlier, and now Dustin not getting found hiding behind main after leaving that generator. Very big deals, because if Xeno were to find a survivor in any of these situations, he could definitely turn this game around in his favor pretty quickly. But Raven X, knowing what they have to do, they understand the assignment. They cannot give Xeno a free down, especially if it means it would be a survivor on their second hook. So right now this is really anybody's game. I can definitely see one slip up from a survivor side here, resulting in Xeno getting some kind of slug play going and still getting a 4k1. But at the same time, if Raven X continues this calm, calculated gameplay and doesn't give Xeno any information for free, and are hiding and pre-leaving when they need to, it can be very hard for Xeno to do anything about this. And I imagine they might be going for a reset. Okay, they're actually not going for a reset right now. I almost expected them to try and reset with all that downtime and Xeno not chasing anybody, but instead we are going to have the healthy survivor Dwight here in a chase while the other two survivors double. But I'm not sure if that was a keyboard or a controller input bug there or something. Dwight was not able to vault right away. He kind of ran into the wall and lost all his distance from that speed boost, and that is going to be an eruption on this generator. Xeno knows they have to be working this generator. It's the only one that's far away, and he knows that there was a lot of progress on it. So I feel like they're going to get this done in time. Yeah, they do get this done in time. Xeno is not able to make it here in time for defending this generator, and because of that penalty, even if Xeno gets a 4k0 right now, it will not be a tie, everybody. This will still be a win for Raven X. All they had to do was pop all 5 generators, and Xeno slugging the survivor here and wanting to go back and trying to at least get a 4k0 here. But set 1 officially does go to Raven X, so well played to them. I do think how they handled this 3v1 was very calm and collected, and definitely what you need to do in this situation. I do think I was a little bit surprised, but I didn't see the survivors pull back and reset at any point when Xeno was looking for somebody, but it worked out in their favor. The injured survivors stayed hidden, and that healthy survivor being chased let Raven X have just enough time left to double the last generator and get it done, because had an injured survivor been caught there, I don't know if they would have been able to get that last generator done. But all that being said, we are just at the very end of this trial here. Jake is having the last 1v1 of the match before we go into the next set. But speaking of, the next set will be Elysium's pick, which is Blight on Mount Ormond Resort 3, which I personally am very excited to see Blight played on that map again. And I do think it will make a very entertaining game between these two teams. But there we go. We have the last survivor downed again. No unbreakable or anything like that. So we will be seeing Jake get put on the hook here. And as soon as Zeno finds these slugs and puts them on a hook, this game will be over. But a little bit of analysis on this match. Zeno did have a strong start. That first down came in pretty early, and I do think he was on pace to get the 4K. Even after that unhook and that For the People came in, Zeno was still close to the hook, and then he put that For the People survivor on the hook again, and then camped them in his generator setup. Again, I think Zeno had control of the trial for a good while, but I think he let it slip away just a little bit after camping that hook for so long, and then the survivor getting unhooked, and then that second wind coming in addition to that lie that I think wasted so much time. This 3v1 was still winnable for Zeno, but after all that time bought from the second wind and the lie, and that general good chase from that tunnel out, Zeno didn't really find any rotations. He didn't find anybody hiding for unhooks. He didn't find that Dustin earlier in the match hiding behind main after stealthing off the generator. So very well played in the 3v1 by Raven X. Zeno did play the beginning of this match very, very well, and I do think played well throughout, but just not catching those rotations, not finding where the survivors were hiding, and that ends up resulting in a 4K0, which again, under normal circumstances, this would just be a tie, but because of that build penalty, Zeno's 4K0 was not enough here for the tie. That will be a loss. So again, Raven X takes set one. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes for set number 2, which is Blight on Mount Ormond Resort 3. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to Entity's Campfire with this week 1 main stage game. We are back with Elysium versus Raven X. Last set we did see Raven X actually take the win over Elysium on the Dark Lord set, and now we are starting off with Xeno on the Blight here for Blight on Ormond 3, and we are seeing that first pallet drop coming in, and Xeno, not really able to make any hit coming with these first couple sets of rushes, and now he's on cooldown for about 10 seconds here, so not the best start for Xeno, but we'll be getting an M1 here, and Shredded Notes. I was about to say, I feel like this power is coming back a little bit sooner. Instead of running double speed, Xeno is opting for Shredded Notes here for faster recovery on his rushes, and that will be the first down come in. That I do have to say, this ace has overcome, so I am very curious. Is this our Deliverance Survivor? No, this is not our Deliverance Survivor. This is Overcome and Dead Hard. And we are going to... Actually, is there no Deliverance in play here? You see, good old Contra DVD here is very up to speed with the main stage bouncing. So it looks like we do not have any Deliverance in play here on the Survivor side. But Xeno has this full Hex Totem build, and we are going to see Ruin get that passive regression on the generators anytime the survivors let go. And we are also seeing crowd control, and Xeno going for the swing through the window. I thought for a second that actually might hit, but that first down came in relatively early. We did see some Shredded Notes value, and Xeno was able to, even though missed for the first couple sets of rushes, he was able to get that M1 and then follow up with a very quickly with the rushes, with some rushes after, and get that pretty early first down. And right now I think Xeno is just holding this cross. He's okay with whatever generator progress there is out there. He just wants to make sure that this unhook does not come in for free, and this is a very good choke point because Xeno right now can look inside main building, he can look around main building on the right hand side, and then also see around him here. So very good choke point from Xeno. David was not able to sneak in for that unhook there, and that will be a 1-for-1 for Ace here, and 15 seconds of endurance and haste is going to make a big difference here. Ace can safely make this no problem, and we still have the decisive strike and the dead hard to work with. Xeno does get that with 2 rushes, and he will eat a decisive here. Now, I wonder if Xeno is going to wait out the dead hard, because he did see Overcome, and I think he might be suspicious that it could be paired with something else, and he is baiting it out. And such a good play on both sides here. Ace knew that Xeno would bait it out and let those that bump that was a bait come in, but Xeno doing an extra one because he said, you know, I have 5 rushes, I've only used 1, I can just keep bumping and bumping and bumping until I see that dead hard, and then it eventually came out, and Xeno now knows that Ace is the dead hard player. So right now, 2 hooks on the board. We do have a survivor about 1 minute away from being eliminated, and Xeno finds a survivor hiding near the hook. Jake is going to get tagged, and right now this is looking like it can be problems for Raven X on the survivor side. We have 2 injuries. We have a survivor pretty close to dying on this hook. We have Hex Ruin and all the other totems still up. If the game goes into a 3v1 right now, Xeno is going to be in a very dominant position, and obviously this hasn't happened yet, but we are seeing the slug come in onto David, and Ace gets unhooked off in the distance. I don't think they will be able to get this heal off in time. I think they tried, but right now, looks like there's a little spectator bug on Ace there maybe, but Xeno is going to be looking for the survivor and does find Ace. Looks like I cannot spectate the survivor side for this final chase. I apologize for that. We do love spectator bugs in this game, but Ace really needs to carry the team on his back here and have a strong chase, because if he doesn't and the game goes into a 3v1 right now, you are looking at 3 gens left versus a Blight with injuries and with Hex Ruin and crowd control still up. So you really cannot afford a death right now if you're on the survivor side for Raven X, and Xeno has Ace stuck here on a not very good pallet. We do have Bloodlust 2 kicking in here, and not really lunging though, because Xeno knows this survivor does have dead hard, so he's actually just not lunging at this at all, which may look pretty silly, but Xeno knows he will be able to react to it, so he can't do it and just goes ahead and swings. I think he was maybe expecting Ace to bait it out a lot, but this is going to be the death. Now on the bright side for Raven X survivors here, they did take care of those resets, so all 3 survivors are healthy here going into this 3v1, but all the totems are still up. Ruin, crowd control, thrill of the hunt, and I believe dominance all up, and these survivors if they want to even think about getting any totem out of the way, it is going to take a very long time. So I imagine we might just see these totems not even messed with, and the survivors will maybe try and work through it. But Xeno, oh, okay, I was gonna say might check his generators, but as that gen pops, he realizes that he just needs to commit to this injured survivor. We do need somebody on hook here, and I think that was pretty much all the generator progress that they had. That the high progress generator did pop now, so we are at 2 gens remaining, but Xeno actually leaving the survivor on the ground and maybe wants to find pressure elsewhere. Not really finding anybody just yet, but checking some lockers here. A little bit of progress on this generator, but Hex Ruin will be slowly eating that up. But, ooh, I don't know if this play is worth it. David does get the pickup, but Nicholas does not have a whole lot of distance here. They might be getting double slugged if Xeno lands a set of rushes. And right now, ooh, very well played by Nick Cage here. Did he use an exhaustion? Was that live? Okay, that was live. That was no. He's been exhausted for a while. I don't know. Maybe our Nicholas Cage player here just held their distance very, very well. I expected that to just be a double slug, but staying alive, very, very important. And ooh, very good juke there on the main building, using that thin wall on the outside. And I think that would have spelled the beginning of the end of this game if Xeno had gotten the double slug there on David and Nicholas Cage. But Nick Cage here, I do think doing an amazing job keeping this game alive on the survivor side. Had he gone down there, I don't know if there's really anything they could really do. But Jake sticking on his generator, I do think is the correct play here. You want to just get that gen while you can and not give Xeno a chance to slug this guy and then find the rotation on the unhook. So 4 generators have popped. This will be at least a 4K1 on the survivor side, but Xeno knows that that generator popped on that side of the map and will be looking for this rotation. And now really the only thing that the survivors can do is have Jake get one of these pickups when one of them is fully recovered, and then hope Xeno is not right there to see it, because if they get the pickup and instantly split up and force locker or do anything like that, they're still in the game. They could maybe try and double a generator for a chase and make something happen. But Xeno actually opting to pick up here, and I think there's a hook close by, so Jake isn't even really able to pick up Nicholas Cage here. And I think Xeno was going to probably pick the survivor as well. Yeah, we are going to see the pickup happen. I don't know where the closest hook here is. It's actually going to be over here next to this generator, but this unhook will come in onto David right now, and hard to say what Xeno will do. You could maybe see the second tunnel out come in onto David, but I personally think he's going to spread pressure here and go after Jake and maybe get both of them injured, because if you can have Jake and David here injured while that survivor is still on hook, you can definitely get a double slug and try and end the game now, which might be what Xeno is playing for. But does catch the rotation here a little too late. David gets that unhook, but will be getting put on his second hook stage. So hard to say if that was worth it for Raven X here. Getting that unhook is important, but if somebody is going to be going down for it, it should definitely be Jake, because now David is barely a minute away from being eliminated on that hook. He has already been hooked before, so not the ideal survivor for a trade. But plot twist on this survivor here, making Xeno have to choose between letting him be healthy and get that self reset or getting the tunnel out here. And Xeno wants the tunnel out, and I do think this is the correct play. Even if that plot twist comes in and Nicholas Cage gets healthy, it doesn't really matter if David is dead. If you have this 2v1, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So Xeno, recognizing that, will just commit to this, and that's going to be a medium vault in this window if he goes for it. So I think this David is dead. Yeah, for lack of better terms, I think he is dead. There's nothing you can do there. You vault, you get hit through the medium vault, and you hold W, and Xeno still has a couple rushes left. So David is dead. We are officially at the 2v1 now. All gens are at 0%, and we still have Ruin up. I guess this gen is technically at like 2% because they just touched it. But yeah, these survivors are starting these generators pretty much from nothing. In a 2v1 with Ruin up versus a Blight, I don't want to speak too soon, but it's pretty much impossible, I think, to get a generator done right now. And unless Xeno really overcommits and misses a lot of rushes. But I don't know. We'll have to see how Raven X plays this. We are seeing them do what we saw last game with that calm and collected gameplay, just making sure you're pre-walking off the generators. But Xeno rushed around in a way where he could find Nicholas Cage walking off that gen, and he actually predicts correctly. So this is an instant chase, but Xeno is going to actually miss that rush. and Nicolas Cage stays alive for a little bit longer, and he does have this filler pallet here. I do think Shaq is still up as well, but very, very well-timed rush. He knows he can just barely get Nicolas Cage in time before he drops that pallet, and Zeno is going to slug here. Jake will be hiding, but will Zeno see him? Zeno does see him. I think he might have seen his head poking up from that that little rock there. So this will be a 4K1. It looks like. I mean, there's not Unbreakable or anything on the Survivor right now. There is not. So yeah, Zeno will be locking in this 4K1 for Elysium. Very well played. That first down came in pretty early, and I do want to give credit to Raven X. So just like last trial, there were a lot of times in this match where their macro on the Survivor side was very good, and they were trying to deny the information from Zeno there and really get these survivors off the hook for free or just protect tunnel out. But Zeno was able to still work through it. I think holding that choke point around the main building was a very good idea, because he was able to catch anybody coming in for that unhook, and they pretty much, I don't know, they had no real way of getting this unhook for free or getting it for the people or anything like that. So Zeno putting them in a very difficult spot, locking in that 4K1, and I am also being told that on the Survivor side, they can choose between Shoulder the Burden or Deliverance. So that is why we didn't see Deliverance in play this game. Raven X opted to have Shoulder the Burden over Deli. So that's my mistake. That was the option they chose. So sorry, I did not know about that. But regardless, 4K1 from Zeno here on the Blight. And we'll be right back in just a second. We'll see Elysium on the Survivor side versus Raven X on the Blight. We'll be right back, everybody. Hello everybody, welcome back to Raven X versus Elysium. We do apologize for the kind of lengthy intermission there. We did have a little bit of lobby issues again, but we are here. Everybody is in the lobby and the trial has started. Raven X on the killer, Elysium on survivor, and last match we did see Xeno gets a 4K at 1 generator remaining. So win count for the survivors here on Elysium is just to pop 5 generators, but you do have to remember that build penalty does apply to the first 2 sets of this best of 3. So if Elysium gets 4K'd with 1 generator left standing, they would technically lose the set, just like we saw happen in the first match with the Dark Lord. That tie condition got met, but it was actually a loss for Elysium. So Elysium cannot play to tie here on the survivor side. They do have to pop 5 generators or they're getting too old. So this first chase is very important. We are seeing Ivan drop off of main building there. I was going to say it looked like it could have been balanced, but I heard the stagger. So Ivan is not using balance landing. He does have lithe and he's actually slow vaulting there to save the lithe. That is very risky, but it works out. Ivan stays alive here at this LT wall. We are going to probably see all 5 of these rushes get juked here. Yeah, Ivan, very good job pathing around that, making it hard for the Blight to get that with only 5 rushes. And Ivan does know he has this pallet gem here, so we are going to see this get thrown instantly. And I imagine Ivan is just dying in a corner now. There's really nothing else he can make, but yeah, he's just going as far edge as he can. And I don't know if that's a miscomm or something. He kind of died right on top of Xynox's generator here. I think if Ivan instead just chose to die behind that pallet gem in the deep corner there, they would have been okay. But I'm not sure what's happening here. I don't know if it's a little bit of a miscomm here, but dying on top of Xynox's gen is definitely going to be a punishing mistake here. And ooh, very good crouch by Xynox. The overcome came in and got him some distance. I thought he was going to be dead here, but Xynox does get the crouch, and I do wonder if he's actually just going to transition to chase Xynox instead and leave Ivan on the ground. Xynox going for another crouch, not quite getting it in time, and Ivan does use his Unbreakable to get picked up. So, you know, it does work out in the end. It is the same result. We just have 1 survivor on hook here, but had a survivor, not Ivan, done that and died on top of that generator without Unbreakable or anything like that, that would be very, very, very devastating. But right now, Ivan uses Unbreakable. He gets up, and we did see 2 generators pop for that first chase, so very good start for Elysium here. And we are seeing a pretty interesting build by our killer on Raven X. I didn't really mention it before, but we are seeing Corrupt Intervention as usual with Pop Goes the Weasel, but also this Jagged Compass and Gift of Paint combo, which, if you're not aware, Jagged Compass does 2 things. It'll show the killer the aura of the most progressed generator anytime they hook on a Scourge hook, but also anytime a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge hook, that hook becomes a Scourge hook. Or sorry, anytime a survivor gets unhooked from a regular hook, it becomes a Scourge hook. I'm sorry, stumbling over my words a little bit, but pretty much what that means is every unhook will result in a Gift of Pain. Every time a survivor gets unhooked from a normal hook, a Scourge hook, anything, they will have that Sloppy Butcher effect where it takes longer to heal, and they'll also do generators slower if they decide to heal through it. So, interesting build. I'm not really sure if it's the best for this situation, but it'll definitely see at least some value if you hook somebody and then just leave them the rest of the match, which I believe Xynox now, who has been hooked and now is healthy and will work on a generator, they will be, I believe, 16% slower on that generator, so could make a difference. But at the end of the day, these little numbers, they don't really have too big of an impact if your killer macro isn't what it needs to be. And right now, I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Their killer for Raven X here is chasing Xeno, who is a fresh hook survivor, while we have 2 survivors who have been hooked once, and we're not really seeing a tunnel out be attempted or anything like that. So I'm not sure what the exact game plan here is, but this will be the 3rd hook stage of the game, and I do want to look on the survivor side here. Ivan is healing up through that Gift of Pain. It will take a little while. Pedro and Chase here does have this filler palette, not the safest, but does get away without getting tagged there. The killer decides they want to put Pop Goes the Weasel down on that generator and then go back to the hook, and does hit Xeno off of that. And are we going to commit to Xeno here? No, we're committing to Xynox. I'm sorry, I'm a little lost here because I don't know what the plan is here for a killer. I don't think our killer for Raven X is playing bad at all in terms of their chases and their rushes, but I think you need to make something happen, and you have to make something happen soon, because if you keep just switching targets and going from survivor A to B to C and not killing anybody, then you're going to have a very difficult time to meet this win condition. And off in the distance, we are seeing a double here and then a single, or a generator being soloed there, about 40% on the double almost, and about 30% on the solo. So this is a lot of generator progress being done for this chase onto Zynox, and Zynox will only be getting put on their second stage. Zynox with a crouch yet again. I know our killer here is just going to hate the control key after this game, but Zynox doing an amazing job here, wasting even more time for his team. Does try and send it away and go around that rock, but gets caught out, unfortunately. But that was still a very worthwhile chase after that crouch came in, because now, since there's no pain resonance or anything to interrupt these generators, Xeno will pop that generator as being doubled, and Ivan is about 90% almost on his generator, and I think Xeno is keeping that 99 just to bait him a little bit, and we are seeing it get dropped. Oh, actually, was I mistaken? Was it another gen? I thought Xeno left his generator, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But either way, all 5 generators have popped, and this is normally going... Actually, wait, no, the last match was a 4K1. This is the win condition for Elysium as Xeno hits that dead hard. Last game, Xeno got a 4K1, and now Elysium Survivors popped all 5 generators, so this is a win. Even though there was a penalty, Elysium still has enough points to take the set just by popping all 5 generators. So what that means, everybody, is we will be going to our tiebreaker set after this trial is over, which is going to be Lich on Ormond Lake Mine. So look forward to that in the next trial. We are seeing attempted firecracker save come in, but not quite. Xeno is going to be put on his second hook here, and I think Zynox plot twisted off in the distance here, and we're probably just going to see this 5 stage. I imagine they're going to let actually no, excuse me, 6 stage. It'll be 3 on Xeno and then 3 on the other survivors here. This will be a 6 stage game, it looks like, assuming these Elysium survivors just take their routes here. I don't think they're going to save Xeno. Yeah, it looks like they're all just leaving through the gate here. And oh, who is it? Who's the injured survivor? Oh, it's Pedro. Pedro's still on the hill. Okay, I thought Pedro went to the gate and Zynox was trying to blind and help him, but he's actually still up on the hill, and I think the killer wants to try and go for Pedro here, but oh, actually does get around Zynox. Zynox, unfortunately, being a skinny legend with the crouch techs, does backfire with the body blocks, but I imagine... Okay, they did unhook Xeno, and is this going to be basement? This is going to be basement. I mean, it doesn't really matter what Elysium does. They have already won the set, but I imagine if they're able to, they might just play for a best result. Anyway, they did get the reset onto Xeno, and Pedro on his first hook in the basement down there. And I wonder what Elysium will do. Are they just going to call it and leave, or are we going to go for the save? I wonder. Oh, tried to short swing through that pallet, but Zynox not close enough to get hit. And okay, Zynox gets tagged. He definitely has to leave. I think now with an injury coming in, surely they leave, right? But wait, he's getting pushed out. Okay, never mind. I thought the killer would go back instantly after injuring Zynox, but he actually pushed him all the way out. So Pedro leaves, or Pedro gets off this hook and will probably make it out. Remember, 15 seconds of haste and endurance. It's very hard, especially with body blocks, for the Blight to do anything here. Yep. So that is, I believe, 6 stages still, but on 4 different survivors. Yeah, that'll be 6 stage, 4 fresh game, and Elysium will be taking this set. So, well played by Elysium here. They did have control of this trial pretty much the whole time. I'm not really sure what the game plan here was from our killer. We didn't really see a lot of attempt come in, but I don't know. Either way, that did get punished because Elysium having the 4v1 the entire game resulted in this match being a 6 stage trial. But stay tuned. We'll be right back setting up the lobby one final time for this match for some Lich on Ormond Lake Mine. We'll be right back, everybody. Just a minute. Is Elysium killing first? Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third and final set of this matchup between Raven X and Elysium. We are having Raven X on the killer side here first for the Lich on Ormond Lake Mine. And again, sorry about the long intermission. We are having some ongoing lobby issues because a member of Elysium here is having problems with not loading into the game. We have to kind of just trial and error until it works. But we're finally here. That will be the last time there's a long intermission screen. So last match should be up and ready to go very quickly, and we are seeing the first chase actually come in onto Xynox here at the Killer Shack, and we are seeing Fly get used around, and wow, very well played by Katroy here, actually cutting Xynox off from Shack Pallet. I didn't really think that was something you could reliably do, but oh my gosh, a flashlight save coming in. Was that from Pedro? Who did that? No, that was Zeno. Zeno coming in for that flashlight save, and that, I think, is going to make a huge difference in this trial. That was such an early first down coming in, and he does get down again about 20-ish seconds later, but that is more progress that Ivan and Pedro have on this double, and that lets them pop it before Pain Res or anything comes in. So very good play by Zeno there, making sure that Xynox lasts a bit longer before that first hook comes in, and we are seeing the orb get sent through the middle of the map. Dry kick coming in onto this generator. We are putting eruption down on it as well, and this unhook is actually coming in for free. The skeleton hit Xynox on hook before he fully fell, so Zeno doesn't take a health state. Xynox still has his BT, and this unhook really was just totally for free, and the drop on Shack Pallet is coming in here. Zeno is going to be blinding on the pallet break, so very good team play here by Elysium. The little things like that, like dropping pallets for your teammates or blinding for your teammates, can make a big difference in keeping them alive. It throws the killer off just a little bit, gives your teammate more distance. All of these little things definitely do add up in the grand scheme of the trial. And Zeno coming in here for the hit tank, and both Xynox and Zeno are crouching these skulls. Very, very good altruism here by Elysium. This is what we like to see from these high-level teams, and I think people expected Zeno to just go straight for that pallet, but he actually changed course a little bit. So Zeno is still healthy nearby this chase, here to help Xynox, and I don't know if... Were they playing for hit tank? I think Zeno is still there. Yeah, Zeno is still there. I think maybe Xynox, he got a little confused on where Zeno exactly was, and he didn't run into him, but actually, Zeno not really having any resources here. He will be having to force locker, and Xynox is still on the ground here. Ivan is going to pop this generator, and I mean, okay, never mind, that's pain resin. So Ivan will not be popping this generator, but he's still close to Xynox and making it so he can't really get picked up instantly because of the fear of that pallet save. So Ivan right here just chilling at this LT wall for now, and very, very good job. I was about to say he could maybe get skulled through the walls here, but Ivan being very careful, paying close attention, and wow, he's just picking up. I did not expect Xynox to just get picked up instantly there. I mean, I guess maybe he knows that's Ivan is a little bit too far away for a pallet save, but that is still such a ballsy play, and it worked out. I mean, Xynox is now on his second hook of the game, on top of this high progress generator. The survivors of Elysium here pretty much have to choose between letting this generator go and let it regress because the hook is on top of it, or unhooking Xynox quickly so you can pop it. And both of them do have their risks. If you unhook Xynox quickly and he just gets tunneled out, and you have a death this early, that could put you into 4K territory here if you're Elysium. So you definitely do have to be careful, and Ivan right now is stealthing for this unhook. I do think this is our assigned survivor for this pool. We have we have Zeno and Pedro close to about 30% on both of their generators, while Ivan stays here for this unhook. We do see the orb come in, so Ivan actually gets spotted by this orb. The killer does know Ivan is here for this pool, and we're actually not even seeing him go for it. Now Pedro's still on his generator. Are they just going to let Xynox die here? Or is Ivan going to go last second? It's looking more and more like they're letting Xynox die, because this hook stage is getting really, really close. Yeah, that Xynox will just be dying on this hook. I guess Elysium would rather go into this 3v1 with two healthy survivors rather than have a slug on the ground, an injured survivor, and an injured Xynox without anybody to help him with his chase. So I definitely think you could work with both scenarios here, but Elysium choosing to let this game go into the 3v1, and we'll just have to see how they play it from here. I do think if Zeno gets caught out like he does right now, he's an injured survivor, so if he doesn't have a long chase here, if he just gets tapped, this could be problems, but he did have a very highly progressed generator, so I imagine somebody might be rotating to go pick that up for him while he dies in this corner, and he will be playing this little variant tile. We do see one generator pop in the distance, and Xeno still has his pallet to work with here, and I think still has those double pallets there as well, but will be winning his 50s here. Very good job by Xeno. Is he even still here? Okay, he is still here. He does path back to these double pallets, and what, are you going to get the drop? No, he's expecting the skulls to come in. Very well played by the killer here. He faked the animation of the skulls to make Xeno not drop the pallet and then walk through before Xeno could react again. So well played by both sides here, and Xeno had some amazing pathing around that tile. I do think very good interaction on both sides here, and Xeno will be going on his second hook stage of the game, but Xeno did waste enough time for both of those generators to pop. So we're at one generator remaining. If the killer commits to Xeno for this last chase here, I'm almost certain that would be enough for a double, and if Xeno has a good chase, that he's also the adrenaline survivor, so a little bit risky if the killer chooses to commit to Xeno. I think at this point it might be safer to just play for fresh hook stages, as we might be seeing with this chase onto Pedro. Pedro is a fresh hook survivor, and you would get some more points if you hooked him and camped him to death or something, so I think that might be the strategy from here on out. And Pedro, wow, left that tile at the perfect time. It does have full distance here on this tower pallet, and right now still is going to be looping it, but I think overextended just a little bit, and he will be going down. But Xeno will definitely pop this generator. We do have resilience on this gen, and that will be adrenaline onto Xeno as well, so I don't know how close the nearest exit gate is here from where this hook is going to be. It's actually okay, he's actually hooking on the tower here, so that is kind of far. Elysium could try and double save this, but without any real exhaustion perks to help them, it is pretty risky. I imagine Elysium will probably just take their outs here. If Ivan and Xeno both leave, it would be 8 hook stages, 3 fresh, and I believe that's probably about as good as I can ask for here. If they tried to unhook Pedro, if they had something like Lithe or 99 Sprint Burst or anything they could use, I do think it would be worth going for to save those extra hooks, but as soon as the first survivor gets injured, the Lich could take that injury and then fly and cut them off from the gate, and I don't really know if they would be able to make it out in time, unless they're able to get some kind of body block play with doubling back and win something, but it's definitely risky. I don't know if Elysium will go for it. I thought they were going to leave, but it actually looks like they could be setting up for this double pull. It could go either way. I don't want to say for sure this will backfire for Elysium, but it definitely has the potential to. The skulls do get used, so on the bright side for Elysium there, we are not going to see the skulls come in and 2-tap anybody, but resilience coming in, Xeno gets that unhook even sooner, and you know, this actually works too. Even if not all of them get out, Xeno could just die for Pedro here, worst case scenario, and they're okay. But yeah, I think that might be what happens here. Ivan takes that tag in a bad spot, so what is Pedro doing? Is he going towards Shack, maybe? I think he's going to Shack. Might be looking for a hatch play here, but oh no, is Pedro doing it? Is he doing what I think he's doing? Okay, I think he got caught out. I think he went behind the wall and made it look like he was pathing towards Shack, but then changed to the exit gates, which would have been a crazy play. But right now, I think Pedro's really just going to choose between hatch or this other gate here, depending on what the killer does. But does get hit by the skulls through the wall there, and that will be a hook pretty far away from both gates yet again. And Ivan is broken from what exactly? Oh, for the people. Ivan did use for the people. That's right. So this is basement. Surely they leave now. This isn't really the same result as before, but wait, Xeno's in basement. When did this happen? Okay, that is going to be a 1-for-1. I don't really know what the... Okay, if Xeno gets the blind and gets Pedro on hooks for free, it's possible that they both get out. But now they might both die. This might be another hook stage that Elysium is losing here, because Ivan can't help. Ivan is broken from using for the people. He can't come and give Pedro a hit. So there isn't really a whole lot Elysium can do now other than really just accept that they give away an extra hook stage and leave. And surely Ivan is probably on his way out now, I'm sure. Not quite. I think he's waiting to see what the killer does here, but he definitely has to stay close to this gate. If Ivan leaves away from this gate and gets caught out, yeah, I think he got spotted in the distance there. So that actually ends up being 9 hook stages, 3 fresh instead of 8-3, which I respect from Elysium. If Xeno was able to go in that basement and get the blind and not have a 1-for-1 for it, they could do something where Pedro body blocks up the stairs, and they can maybe have one person try and loop shackle, the other one goes for an exit gate, and it could have even been one less stage given away. It could have been a potentially 7-hook stage game, but not quite how it worked out. It actually ended up backfiring, so Elysium will be giving away 9 hook stages instead of 8, which isn't the biggest deal. It's a risk they took, and at least it's one of those risks where if it backfires, oh well, they're giving away 1 more hook stage. It's not like a fresh hook survivor died when they didn't need to. They made sure Ivan was safe, and they at least got those 3 stages out. So not the biggest deal in the world for Elysium, and keep in mind the penalty only applied to the first 2 sets of this match. So Elysium does not have a penalty on the killer side here, so Xeno's win con when he switches over to Lich will be 10 stages instead of 9 because of how this endgame went. So that will be the last trial of this match. Coming up in just a minute, we'll be right back one last time to set up lobby, and yeah, stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back for this last trial. Hello everyone, welcome back to Entity's Campfire with the week 1 main stage game, last trial of Elysium versus Raven X here. We have a score of 1-1 so far, and this trial will dictate who goes to loser's bracket and who continues in the main stage winner's bracket here. And Orb coming in onto David here at the Killer Shack. I wonder if Xeno will be opting to chase this. He actually does go for the skull on the basement elevation and doesn't quite hit David there, but will be getting the M1 anyways, so still works out for him. And Xeno does have a little bit of a steep win condition here. He has to either get 10 hook stages or 9 stages on all 4 fresh with all 4 fresh hooks achieved. So you have to hook everybody at least once and get 9, or just get 10 stages on anybody. So not the easiest win condition, but that being said, Xeno does have a pretty fast-paced start to this game. We have an early down coming in with 1 generator off in the distance at about 45-50%, and another one at about 30. So not a lot of generator progress to speak for this first down, and Xeno actually using the orb in the corner here while he checks this other side with his own eyes to make sure that there's nobody hiding for this unhook. You might normally see Lich throw an orb at certain generators. You think that survivors might be working, but Xeno instead using it to maybe try and find somebody stealthing. And he did not find anybody here, but if we heard Killer Instinct go off, if Xeno found somebody with the orb there hiding for that unhook, that would be a very, very, very good find for Xeno, but not what ended up happening. We are seeing this generator pretty high progress. It looks like Hinatu was working this, and Xeno does get the skull through the wall, and that will be an injury. And now Xeno is going back to this hook, so very, very important tag coming in there on Hinatu. And for the people does come in onto David, and not Hinatu, excuse me, Jake used for the people on will be injured now, but it actually looks like Xeno is not interested. He wants to instead go for David here. I think maybe expected skulls to come out there, but Xeno's just going to M1, and we do have these double pals here, which is relatively strong setup, but David holds W away, and we are going to see him go towards this 4 lane, but skulls hit Nicolas Cage. Now everybody's injured. Well, I don't know exactly what's happening here. Maybe Nicolas Cage was trying to play for a body block, but forced hesitation coming in. Nicolas Cage can't do anything about that. I did forget to mention that, didn't I? Yeah, Xeno is running forced hesitation, so that down coming in onto David made it so Nicolas Cage made no distance and will be going down. This is a double slug and a pain resonance. Xeno right now, I think it's safe to say, is very much on pace to meet this win condition if he keeps up this pressure, and that orb going off in the distance shows that one of the 2 survivors that's up is on that generator. So I think Xeno now is just going to hold this choke. I think he's fine if they decide to stick that generator by the tower and pop it. If he just sits up here in main and holds cross, you have a survivor on hook that's going to die in about 30-40 seconds, and we have another survivor that's on the ground next to you. So it doesn't matter if they pop another generator or get some progress elsewhere. If Xeno can just make sure that this David dies on hook, he is in such a good spot, and he has a good idea of where survivors are. Jake is all the way across the map, so he's actually going to, I was going to say take this hook, but he's actually dropping. Interesting. I wonder if, is Hinatu going for a save? No, Hinatu is still just on this generator. I think he was maybe scared that picking up picking up a Nicolas Cage would make it so Hinatu leaves his generator and unhooks David. I think Xeno maybe was expecting that, but it doesn't look like anybody's even going for it. They're going to let David die here, and yeah, now Xeno knows where everybody's at. This generator popped as well. I'm a little surprised to see Xeno go here and not to the tower with the generator with high progress, but still gets the down using the skulls. Very good use of the elevation there. This is one of Lich's best maps, I feel, because of all these elevation changes. We're seeing so many good uses of the skulls here, and Xeno already has an elimination at 2 generators remaining. We have 4 hooks on the board, and everybody's injured. Right now, this is a very, very hard spot to be on the survivor side. I don't like to count any survivor team out of the game before it's all said and done, but it is very hard to come back from this. You only have 1 generator that has progress. We have eruption down on it. We have everybody injured, and on top of all that, we're already down to a 3v1. So these survivors really, really have to work for it if they want to claw their way back from this match and get all these generators done and walk out with giving away less than 10 stages. That is a very, very tall ask. Still possible. I never like to say things are impossible, but Xeno right now has such a firm grasp on this game. It'll be very hard for them to do it. I am very curious to see what the survivors of Raven X here try to do. I do want to give them credit. The first couple trials of this match, they did have very, very clean macro play, especially when Xeno was in a dominant position. They did turn it around before, so right now we are seeing this down come in, and that is a minus 10% on that generator with Eruption. There is not a Scourge hook nearby for Xeno to get Pain Res on, so he's actually just using this mid-map hook here, and I wonder if these survivors are doubling this. No, there's only one survivor on this generator, and then the other survivor near main building here playing for his unhook, but Xeno right now really kind of has liberty to go wherever he wants. Everybody's injured. If you go to this generator and find scratch marks like we're seeing here, and you find the injured survivor and just down them, that's good for you because you have it down on top of an active generator. If you want to camp, it's a 3v1, so you can also kind of do that. So Xeno has good options no matter what he decides to do, but I do like what he's doing now the most. He is going around the map, spreading pressure. I think he does want to put Eruption on this generator before it gets hit by Pain Resonance. So this generator is about to take a massive hit. That's minus 5%, and then another minus 20% here with this hook. Right there, and then maybe another 10% if he finds an injured survivor. But right now, Xeno on fire, 6 hook stages so far, and creeping up to that win condition. And we still have 2 generators remaining. And right now, this is looking bad for the survivors. Raven X really, really needs something to happen, and they need something to happen right now. Good juke from Hinata here, staying alive a bit longer, and we still do have this pallet gem over here, as well as this edge map tile, but I'm not sure why Hinata changed course like that. I do think he would have made that pallet gem just fine, but ends up actually going down there, so this will be hook stage number 7, and Xeno definitely does make that hook further up the map near that generator, so I think this is the beginning of the end. I want to say their fate looked like it was sealed earlier. There was still a chance for Raven X to come back from this, but right now their chance at bringing this back is looking more and more slim. Xeno right now is, I think, as soon as that elimination came in, he was already in a good spot, but as soon as that elimination came in, he has really, really had these survivors under control and made it so hard for them to even pop any generators in general. Like this has just been a massacre ever since this 3v1 started, and Xeno's doing such an amazing job keeping it that way, and I think the survivors understand that it's over. We give up. Xeno, you can take this set, and that will be it. This will be a 4K2. Very, very strong result for Xeno here, and Elysium will be taking this win. It did look very close earlier. I did think it was actually a possibility that Raven X would take this. Xeno doing his little victory dance. He said, no, penalties be damned. It's okay. I got this win. I'm bringing this back for Elysium, and we will be taking this 2-1. So Elysium will be progressing through the winner's bracket, and this loss for Raven X means that I believe their next match will be in the loser's bracket for Entity's Campfire this season. So nobody here is fully out of the tournament, but again, Elysium will be continuing loser's bracket. Raven X losers, unfortunately. Well played to both of them. I did see some very, very good gameplay, I think, on both sides from both teams here. So I do want to give credit where it's due. I think Raven X and Elysium both played their butts off today. But that being said, this will be the final trial of this match. We will be live again in about 1.5 hours at 5 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Pacific for our next game, which is Ego versus Radiant. And those sets will be Lich, Artist, and Demogorgon. So come back, watch that. We'll be back again in about 1.5 hours. So stay tuned for that. And we will see you guys for our next game. Thank you so much for watching Elysium versus Raven X, and we will be back soon.